What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm DS, and as always, I'm here with my guy, Dino Bam Bam. Dino Bam Bam, what up?
What up, dog?
Shit, man, we got a big card ahead of us, UFC 291. Obviously, that's what we're here to break down today.
We are.
And, man, the last pay-per-view card was incredible. Hopefully, this one can hold its own, too. We do have some really big fights, obviously, on the docket. Poirier Gaethje goes without saying.
Return of the BMF.
Sure, I don't know that I love that as much, but you know, I guess is Masvidal presenting it?
He said he was on Instagram. He put up a video saying he's going to be flying out to Utah. What a fitting place for a BMF.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, Utah.
All the BMFs come from Utah. Honestly, I'll be real with you too. I completely forgot when I was doing the film watching for this that this was in Utah until like yesterday evening.
That factors in a little bit, right? With the
it definitely does, man. I mean, we saw it last time. Part of me kind of wishes that this wasn't in Utah. I would like to see, you know, Poirier versus Gaethje
right here.
Without that added element, you know, of who's going to gas, you know, and we'll talk about it, obviously. But in the meantime, did you want to tell them what they should do?
Yeah, you guys should definitely like and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Little subscribe button, just press it. Then next to it, there's a little bell there. If you ring that, what that does is it notifies you of our future videos when they drop. And then that way you can see all our content and not miss anything. You can also follow us on Instagram at the107MMA, same way as it's spelled on our channel. Don't mind the goatee, by the way.
Yeah,
I know I look like welterweight right now.
You're rocking it, though.
But what happened was I was trimming I lost my trimmer. I left it in Vegas, I think.
I was sick.
So I was trying to like trim my beard with some neck shit and went down too low. So it was either...
It's the classic thing that happens to anybody that has facial hair.
It was this or babyface, and... That ain't for me no more.
Can't rock that. I feel that.
No, sir.
On that note, let's jump right into it. It's a bit of a shorter card that we've got this week.
But short's good sometimes. That's what I've been told.
I've never heard that, but, you know, hopefully the card has the motion of the ocean.
It's a very thick card.
All right. Jumping right into it. First fight of the night. It's a women's fight. It's at 125. We've got Miranda Maverick versus Priscila Cachoeira. Miranda Maverick just fought like a month ago.
Yeah.
And lost.
Like 3 weeks, right? 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, it was not very long ago. She is jumping in on short notice. This was supposed to be Joanne Wood instead. But take it away, my friend. What do you think about this first fight of the night?
Alrighty, so Miranda Maverick, as you mentioned, she is replacing Joanne Wood on this card. She's strong. She looks for takedowns. That's kind of her bread and butter. If she's not able to get that takedown, we've seen what happens to her. She kind of struggles in the striking realm. She's not necessarily bad per se with the striking, but it's not too crisp. There's no like serious power to speak of.
There's not like manpower behind it.
That's what I'm saying. It's not very threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is coming off that loss to Jasmine Jasudavicius all the way back in June. She really couldn't handle Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that too, to be honest. But I think I did pick Maverick in that one.
I think I picked Jasmine. I don't recall.
You did. I remember it vividly. You did.
I think I did, but I don't know what that says. Does it say that Jasmine Jasudavicius is a lot better than we thought she was, or does it say Miranda Maverick's a little worse than we thought she was?
I think it tells you don't bet on women's MMA.
Right, and that's something we always say.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, she didn't take too much damage, so she's back here. She's taking on Priscila Cachoeira, zombie girl, a Team Davison Figueiredo girl, so by proxy, she's sort of like a my girl, I guess.
Sure. She hasn't fought in a hot minute.
Right. She is very powerful. When she fights, she swings huge. She swings for the fences. She's kind of like a do-or-die fighter. You know, like live by the sword, die by the sword kind of girl, which is wild at women's 125 to me. It's not a style you see very often.
It is. And she knocked out my girl, Ariane Lipski, last time out. But that was about a year ago.
Right. She's exciting, man. The ground game is middle of the road. We would assume that Miranda Maverick would have that advantage there. So this is kind of a classic striker versus grappler thing. I don't understand how in the world, after what happened less than a month ago, Miranda Maverick is a minus 340.
Wow.
That's
another thing, too. I didn't look at any odds for this except for the main event.
Yeah, so she's a minus 340, which she's not... look, and I don't mean anything...
Minus 340 is crazy.
It is
I've got a splitting headache, by the way.
Yeah.
Just gotta...
I know.
Yeah.
we just both pounded Tylenol.
Yeah.
Something must be going on. But... Here's my thing. I'm not trying to like shit on her in any way, Miranda Maverick, but I don't think she's a minus 340 versus any lady in the UFC.
No.
So, anyways, the reason I am picking Miranda Maverick here, though, is because she is the grappler.
Wow, I thought you were going the other way for sure.
Well, here's the thing, Dino. Priscila Cachoeira has shown holes on the ground. Miranda Maverick.
Oh,
Come on.
man.
I thought we were trying to be mature.
I know, but why is she doing all that?
Anyways, we've seen Miranda Maverick lose before, right? And it's to girls that can take her down and hold her there. It's the grapplers that can do that to her.
Yeah.
Priscila Cachoeira is not the grappler. My analytical mind is telling me that she should win this fight. I'm not parting ways with my money here because that's insane at minus 340.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, so
I mean, if anything, you sprinkle a little bit on a Cachoeira knockout.
potentially, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going Miranda Maverick 29-28. I'm trying to be smart on this card.
Yeah. You said it all. You know, Miranda Maverick, much younger. She's still super young. Feels like she's been in the UFC,
Yeah.
a few years now, and she hasn't been like crazy active up until recently, I guess. But like you said, man, she just fought a month ago, lost to Jasmine Jasudavicius. I expected her to win that. I'm also going with Miranda Maverick in this one. I think that there is certainly a path for Priscila Cachoeira to win this.
Yeah.
And if she is going to win it, I see her starching her in the first round, just landing a huge shot. And, not that Miranda Maverick took a lot of damage last fight, but we have seen that she does have that knockout power, Cachoeira, that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I am also going to go 29-28 Maverick by decision. This is the first time that I'm hearing of those odds. Those are insane odds.
Yeah, right.
And now, it almost is pushing me to pick Priscila Cachoeira, but I don't put too much stock in the odds, honestly, when I'm doing these things, obviously. So
I try not to, but, sometimes, like when I do the fights, I get my information down or whatever, and then I like to go look at the odds to kind of see if it matches what I'm thinking.
Sure.
To kind of give me, like, there we go. It's proof that.
But you're not going to sit there and change it because of the, what I mean?
No, yeah. I don't think. I think I've done that before. I think.
Yeah.
Here and there, but I mean, it did not match what I thought. I think Miranda Maverick should be the favorite. I think she should be like a minus 150.
71% of people on Tapology picking Maverick.
And and whatever.
That's fine. There was one egregious ass one. Maybe it was for next week's card that I saw recently, and I was like shook. Yeah, it is
with
for
people picking it.
Yeah, it is for next week's. It was literally like 96%, and I was like, oh, all right. Maybe I need to watch more film on that one. But that's for next week's card. Anyway, so we agree on that one.
Yes, sir.
First fight of the night, we agree on it.
Also,
I don't know why we put stock into that, but it's just an interesting thing to note.
It is. I do want to add this in, and I hope this doesn't become a recurring theme in our endeavors here.
Yeah.
But it is hot as shit again in this room.
It's so hot in here.
We
dude.
can't have the AC cranking because it makes a lot of noise in this room.
Yeah.
So we're suffering for you guys. But again, if you see us drip and sweat, mind your business.
Exactly. I'm pretty dry right now, but that can change. I've noticed I get sweatier as I keep talking.
Well, yeah, and these lights are hot, and
yeah, and this one's hot, beaming in my face.
Just the pressure.
The pressure.
Not too much pressure.
Moving on to the next fight of the night, and this is one that I'm very interested in. It's Matthew Semelsberger versus Uroš Medic. It's at 170. I think Medic is moving up. Yes, he is. He's moving up from lightweight to welterweight. Sorry, brain fart there. Matthew Semelsberger, man, he's getting close to being a my boy.
We said that last time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, dare I say, maybe he is a my boy. I just really like his style, man. I really like how he fights. He goes for the finish, but he doesn't fight crazy, right? He does have some technical skill. Mm-hmm. He's pretty well rounded too. We talked. We talked about the Jeremiah Wells fight. Yeah, I thought he won that fight personally. It was very close. Obviously, he was supposed to be fighting Johan Lunes. Before that, he beat Jake Matthews, and Jake Matthews, I really like him too. He's fighting on this card too. Mm-hmm. I like Semelsberger, man. Like I said, I love the style. He goes for the finish. I think he's going to get the KO finish in this one. I see, Uroš Medic does have some pretty good striking. Moving up a weight class, how's it going to affect him? Is he going to be slower because, the skill level, the speed, obviously, is going to be a little bit more at lightweight. Moving up 15 pounds, it's also not like a small division move. You know what I mean in terms of actual weight.
It's not the standard 10.
Right. Medic is not bad. He's got a nice jab. He's got good kicks. I just think that Semelsberger is going to be the stronger guy here. I do also think that he definitely has the wrestling advantage in my opinion. I see a 30-27 decision. I could also see I see a knockout, but I could also see a 30-27 decision Semelsberger's way. Him just kind of working in the wrestling, keeping him at bay a little bit. But I do think I think ultimately he will get the knockout here.
Fair, and I also love Matthew Semelsberger. I think he's an awesome fighter. I wish he was more consistent, man. And we're going to talk about that again. You mentioned Jake Matthews later on in the card. Another guy that's like,
dude,
not consistent.
He's less consistent,
right?
Than Semelsberger.
Right, and there's a few of those guys on this card that I just wish they had more consistency to them, and they'd be great fighters.
Yep.
But anyways, you pretty much said all that needs to be said. What I'm going to harp on here is I do believe Uros Medic is the more technical striker. I don't think that's close. I think Semi has the power advantage, and I think he's a very gritty fighter that's always coming forward. I think the biggest difference in this fight is going to be the grappling of Matthew Semelsberger.
Yep.
I think he has a huge advantage.
So you think it'll play out on the ground more?
Maybe not necessarily on the ground. A lot of it in the clinch, like up against the cage, and then eventually to the ground.
Yeah.
Look.
In the clinch, dude, Semi the Jedi is a beast.
That's what I'm saying. He's a very strong guy, former football player.
He can do a lot of damage in the clinch for sure.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I don't know what it is like that. There's something about Medic. I feel like he doesn't have like the best chin, and I mean, we haven't seen him really tested. You know, he hasn't had a lot of fights. He lost to Jalen Turner, but it was by submission.
Right, grappling.
But I don't know. There's something, and I know he has a lot of knockouts on his record too. But I don't know. I just don't see that happening. I feel very confident about it too.
Well, he does have power. He has some decent power. Does that power translate to 170? He is 6'1", so he was always kind of tall for lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I think Semelsberger is eventually going to take him down. I think standing up would just be the wrong game to play, honestly. You have a clear path to victory.
And it's possible he does. Maybe that is part of that inconsistency for Semelsberger.
Maybe.
Where he stands and bangs maybe more than he should. You would think Jake Matthews is the more technical striker.
He is.
He is, and Semelsberger was beating his ass.
Yeah.
So
anyways, here I am going Matt Semelsberger. I think I'm going by decision. I think he's going to be able to grind one out. 29-28 probably. If he goes to the wrestling, shouldn't be too difficult of a task. If he stays on the feet, he might make that a little more hard for himself.
Yeah. I think you're right, man. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the third fight of the night. This one is another interesting one, man. 125, obviously such an interesting division.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as skill-wise, can line up with any other division in the UFC at this point. Yeah. But the fight is CJ Vergara versus Vinicius Salvador. Very different styles. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, very different styles. Very fun fighters. I like watching both of these guys fight.
Absolutely.
CJ Vergara, he's very high pressure. He's always going forward. He's really good in the clinch. He has some good power. He's a never quit kind of guy.
Absolutely.
And I like that they've done, you know how we talk about the theming of cards?
Yeah.
I feel like they put a lot of guys on this card that have fought each other, and then they put a lot of guys on this card that are...
Well, the times line up a lot of the time. But,
of course.
But yeah, you're right.
But I mean, and the other thing is, guys that are very similar in weird ways. Like CJ Vergara, to me, and this is going to sound crazy if you just hear it on face value, he's a lot like Justin Gaethje. He's one of those guys that's he's always coming forward. He's never going to quit. You can hurt him. He's not going to go away. He's just kind of like a dog.
Absolutely. So, he may not have the chin that Poirier has. And I know it's at a lower weight class.
That Gaethje has, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Gaethje has, sorry.
Right. But regardless, we've seen him get 10-8'd. In his last fight, he got 10-8'd and came back and won that fight.
Yeah.
So that just shows you what kind of guy he
Basically
is.
Gave back a 10-8 the other way.
Yeah.
The second round.
It was absolutely
there aren't a lot of fighters, just from a mental perspective, let alone the cardio aspect of it, and the just the relentlessness of it. There are not a lot of fighters that can do that.
No, I mean, it's impressive. You're getting your ass kicked, and then you beat the shit out of somebody.
Yep.
But anyways, it's always a fun fight with CJ Vergara. He does have a win over my boy Clayton Rodriguez. He looked pretty good in that fight. He's taken on another exciting fighter, as you mentioned, very different in Vinicius Salvador. He's very long-bodied. He's a rangy striker, throws tons of volume.
Huge for flyweight.
Huge, absolutely massive for flyweight. He's willing to bang a little too much for my liking. He does get brawly. He does this kind of like, he drops his hands and kind of, rolls around like...
He does like the vintage Silva thing, but,
right.
Obviously he's not as effective, certainly.
It's like, chill out, dude.
But,
you don't need to be doing all that.
And that worked against him, I thought, even in his last fight.
Yeah, I mean, it works against him oftentimes. He generally wins, but how many times can you keep making mistakes and, not pay for it? Anyways, he lost to Victor Altamirano last time out. He didn't look all that great in that fight. And that kind of worries me because Victor Altamirano.
And again, I thought I'm sorry, just if he fought smarter, I think there were times where he could have gone for a finish in that fight too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? It's just, but I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. He didn't look great versus Victor Altamirano. I didn't think Victor Altamirano looked great after that.
Yeah, that's the other thing I had written down too.
Yeah, and then he looked good versus Shannon Ross, but what does that really mean? You know,
not much.
Right. So I'm taking CJ Vergara here. I don't really trust what I've seen from Vinicius Salvador. Not a very smart fighter. I'm not very confident in the competition he's faced so far. I can see CJ handling a bit of adversity early. And not giving up, and maybe not quite a 10-8 like we saw last time out, but maybe dropping the first round, coming back and winning the second, and then eventually finding a TKO in the third. That's what I'm going with. I'm not confident in the finish. I'm very confident in CJ Vergara in this fight, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also going with CJ Vergara, too, so we're pretty much in unison this far. We'll see what that means, but I feel less confident about this than some of my other picks on this card.
Okay.
But I still feel pretty good about it.
Good parlay piece for you?
Ugh, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always like to do a full card parlay.
Oh, yeah.
But this one, for me, is probably not going to be on anything other than my small full card parlay.
How do you feel about a minus 170 for CJ Vergara?
I think that's about right.
About right, okay.
Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, that's not bad as a parlay piece, to be honest.
Saying.
So, yeah, I mean, you've said it all, man. You know, two very different styles. What the hell's up with CJ Vergara just exclusively fighting, like, wildly explosive Brazilian strikers? That's just all he fights? Because if you look at his last few fights, he's fighting Salvador now. He fought Daniel Lacerda, who's a beast. He fought Claydson. He also, in between those two, he fought Tatsuro Taira. So it's just like...
And that was his loss, go figure.
Yeah, and he lost to Ode Osborne, too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
That's a new R boy, Ode Osborne.
Well,
met him in Vegas. We had a really fun time.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
The Ode Osborne thing in Vegas was pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, I believe in CJ Vergara, too. The resilience that he's shown. He's pretty good everywhere. He's one of those guys that he's pretty much good at everything. No one piece of his game stands out, really. Mm-hmm. He's definitely got the better cardio than Salvador. There's no question about that. We have seen CJ's chin tested. Now, he does get up most of the time.
Yeah.
We have seen him tested. He's got to be careful. There's a huge power edge here. Mm-hmm. Vinicius Salvador is much bigger. He does have a serious power advantage, in my opinion.
Big reach advantage.
I just think CJ Vergara has fought better fighters than Salvador and won. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Salvador could get the knockout. And kind of like you mentioned, too, he does need to weather the storm in that first round. If he does, I see him winning the next two rounds pretty easily. Is Salvador going to come out and fight more conservative? I just don't think he has it in him. I think he's just so cocky and he just believes in his own striking and power enough where I do think he's going to come and let it all out there in the first round. And CJ Vergara is going to be able to pick up that 29-28 decision with the next two rounds.
I also, just to play some devil's advocate, I do worry a little bit with this pick, with CJ Vergara being 32, Salvador being 27. 32 at flyweight is different than 32 at middleweight. You know what I mean?
But 32, I think you're still pretty much in your prime. You know?
That's fine.
So I'm not too worried about the age. I'm more worried about CJ Vergara's chin. And if Salvador does catch him, as powerful as he is, as long as he is he going to be able to get up this time? We'll see. I think he does have it in him, though. So, moving on to the fourth fight of the night, and this one is somebody we just talked about, Jake Matthews. He was supposed to be fighting Miguel Baeza. Instead, he's fighting Darius Flowers. Very different opponents. Darius Flowers, from what I could tell from the film that I've watched, and I've watched pretty much all of his last 4 or 5 fights, he's got big power.
Is he your favorite flower? What's your favorite flower?
My favorite flower?
Yeah. It's not a Darius flower?
Certainly not a Darius flower.
Okay.
It might be like a... I don't know. It's certainly not a Darius. What's your favorite flower?
I don't even know about flowers. Posies?
Posies?
I don't know.
Is that even a real flower? Pocket full of posies?
Shout out Buster Posey.
He was a legend, man. How do you think his knees are feeling these days?
Awful.
No question about that. You know, the lily flower is nice, too, because it's like the fleur de lis.
I used to work with a girl named Lily.
Okay, we're getting way off track here. We can play off those all day if you want.
We can.
So let's get back to it. It's Jake Matthews versus Darius Flowers at 170. Darius Flowers is making his UFC debut. Darius Flowers is also 5'8", I want to say, 5'9". He's super short. He's very raw, and he's not like a young prospect, right? I mean, he's what?
28.
28?
Oh, 29 next month.
29 next month. So, I mean, yeah, he's not like the youngest guy. He's got really legit power, but I really think that's about it. He's got some okay wrestling, you know, and he does seem to go to it a decent amount. I just think more than anything here, he's coming on late notice. Obviously, hats off to him. You know, that's awesome. He was also on the Contender Series.
Dancing with the Stars.
Right. I was literally going to say, he got beat by a Georgian fella, he beat a Georgian fella because of a slam.
Yeah, injury.
And he looked like he was on his way to losing that fight.
Yeah.
And then he kind of picked him up while he had him in a triangle and slammed him down. And the guy, it looked like his collarbone.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like a collarbone break. But, you know, I don't see him doing that to Jake Matthews. I just think Jake Matthews is so much better on the feet technically. I see a first-round KO here. Now, I've never seen Darius Flowers really, like, dropped or anything like that.
Right.
I'm just saying Jake Matthews, on paper, should be that much more technically savvy and just better. And he's longer. This guy's 5'9". He's got a lot of power. Just don't get knocked out. If Jake Matthews loses this, he's got problems.
Right.
So I'm going to go first-round KO for Jake Matthews.
Okay, so you're trusting in the inconsistent Jake Matthews here.
I am, man. I just think the quality is so different.
Right.
You know, I mean, who knows? Darius Flowers ends all his fights in like a minute and a half by knockout. Yeah. So I just don't see Jake Matthews getting caught like that.
Right. This fight, I can see it playing out a ton of different ways.
Of course.
And you know, here's the thing. Darius Flowers, obviously you mentioned he's making his UFC debut. The way he fights is he walks with his hands up like high guard. He just throws absolute bombs. And then, like you said, he likes to... He's like the violent slam takedowns. That's kind of what he's known for.
He's like a very small Rampage.
Right. My whole thing is like, I have to take Jake Matthews here.
You have to, dude.
You have to.
What are the odds on this one?
They're not out yet from the last time I checked.
Oh, is that right, buddy?
So I have to take Jake Matthews here. There's a world.
There is a world.
There's a very...
And
yeah, there's a ton
I really like Jake Matthews. And I'm telling you, I've said this before. After his fight versus... who was it?
The one where he went nuts, right?
He went nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Shocking.
Jake Matthews is back.
Yeah.
He looked badass with the Viking.
Wasn't that in Australia?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
He looked sick with the Viking, and he's shredded. He was a beast, dude.
I think it was against, what's his face? The Portuguese fella.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name right now. We have Tapology in front of us. We could figure it out in like 10 seconds.
I know, but I literally have everything but Jake Matthews' page open. It was a fight versus Fiallo.
Yeah.
Fiallo. He beat the shit out of him.
That was crazy. That was was that the Erie card?
Yeah. Teixeira versus Proska, yep. Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, he lost to Semelsberger, but in the later parts of that fight,
yeah,
even after getting beat for the first, like, 2 rounds, in that third round, he was kind of coming back, and he was landing some good shots, man.
Yeah.
So, he's got the cardio advantage. He's got the technical striking. If he loses this dude, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And I know they're probably not going to let him go, but it's time to go.
So, like I'm saying, I could see Flowers knocking him out quickly. That's a real possibility.
It is a possibility.
I can see Flowers having no type of cardio, and then, you know, making your debut under the big lights on a pay-per-view at elevation. That's kind of where it plays in, right? Let's play that in.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe he gets exhausted really quickly after throwing some flurries, and Matthews doesn't go away. I'm going to go Jake Matthews TKO, probably late round 1, maybe round 2.
Yeah.
I can also see a world where it's a decision for Jake Matthews. I don't see a world where Flowers wins by decision. No. But I see a world where Flowers can knock Jake Matthews out really quickly.
I would say, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I really hope we don't see that, but yes, certainly.
I'm happy we brought the elevation into it.
Yes, because I literally mentioned at the start of the video, and then I just I've forgotten about it. Now, just backtracking real quick, I don't really see it affecting any other fight too much aside from
maybe
Salvador.
Yeah.
Exactly, Salvador. I feel a little bit better even now about the CJ Vergara pick because of that.
Agreed.
So, moving on to the 5th fight of the night, another super interesting fight. I mean, maybe if you're a fucking casual, it's not. But if you're not, did you talk about this in casual?
Well, but if you are a casual,
yeah,
feel free to watch our other video series. It's called the MMA Casuals Guide. We just dropped the MMA Casuals Guide to UFC 291. I don't think any casuals are watching this far into the video.
No.
But if you are, you filthy casual, go watch that so you don't look like a fucking idiot in front of your friends at the bar.
Right.
And you can like kind of talk about what's going on.
Absolutely. The videos are great. Dino Bam does a great job with them. I tend not to make an appearance in them.
Right.
So do with that information what you will.
He's appeared.
If you watch this exclusively to see my face,
yeah, then don't do it.
Right.
My face wasn't even in
Don't think there were that many people. That's right.
Because of the welterweight thing.
Is that why you got so conscious about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think many people watch this to see anything visually that's on the screen. I don't know, though. That's you.
We got a lot of weird shit. And, like, low-key, we sometimes be adding things and just, like, not saying it.
Maybe we should do, like,
what's new?
Like, like a 5 things, like, you know what I mean? Like, with the things we used to circle it back in the day, like what's different in the photos.
I'm down.
So, anyways, moving on to the 5th fight of the night. It's at 185. It's Roman Kopylov, the Russian, versus Claudio Ribeiro, the Brazilian. Very, very interesting fight. What do you think about this one?
All right, let's start with Roman Kopylov. Very good boxer, very good kickboxer.
He looks like he's like 17.
He looks like Chase Hooper, but like big and Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
like, Chase Hooper had like the...
He still has like a boy face. And
right.
I was shook when I look up and he was like, he's like 32.
Yeah, it's weird. He does look like 16. But anyways, he is a very good kickboxer. Very sharp combos when he does let him go. Sometimes he can be a little hesitant. That's like literally the only flaw in his striking game.
Yeah. But that jab, man.
Hesitant. It's very good.
That jab, he works that jab. That's the thing I like best about him. Yeah. Super fast jab for 185.
Unreal.
And powerful.
Unreal. His struggles have been on the ground. We've seen that. He's been taken down and he's been dominated a couple times in his career. Getting into a striking match with this guy is a recipe for disaster. This is not the dude to mess around with on the feet.
Definitely.
You make a mistake, he's going to touch you up. On the other hand, we have Claudio Ribeiro. He's a very good boxer. He's a professional boxer, comes with that background. He's absolutely nuts, and I think I've said this before about him, and it's funny that he's on this card with Michel Pereira.
I knew you were going to say that,
But diet Michel Pereira, right? Real power, man. Similar to Kopylov, he has struggled a little bit on the ground. Even so, he does have the ability to take it to the ground. We saw that against Ugly Man Joe last time.
Yeah.
Again, what do we make of that? What is Ugly Man Joe? I think he's been cut from the company. Not very good.
No.
He seems to be not very good. I'm happy we saw Claudio Ribeiro dominate him on the ground to show us that he does have a little bit of a ground game.
Yeah.
He was winning that fight on the feet and then decided to take it to the ground when he didn't have to. To me, that plays into like his low IQ.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I like Ribeiro. I like his style. I just don't think he's the smartest fighter. If he wants to win this fight, he should definitely take it to the ground. And if he's able to take it to the ground, he should win it. I just don't think he's going to be... I don't think his mind works that way. I think he's a striker.
No, he wants to bang, dude.
Exactly. He wants to bang. He wants to stay on the feet, and he's going to do that, and he's going to make a huge mistake in doing that. I'm taking Roman Kopylov by by round 2 TKO. He has the power. He just does not have the skill of Kopylov.
Yeah, I would give him the power advantage too, and that's saying something. I don't think Kopylov is like a weakling. I think, like I said earlier, I think he's got pretty good power in his hands, like deceivingly so. When you see the punches land, they don't necessarily look like much, but the speed at which he throws them, the speed at which he pulls his jab back, man, really nice, really good. Awkward, kind of like he's interesting because he's got like clean technical boxing, but kind of still awkward in a way. Yes. Maybe it's like it's almost like he doesn't like realize like he's actually 14 and like he's just like using this 32-year-old body. I don't know, it's weird. He's interesting though. Both guys have solid power, like you said. I think Ribeiro does have the power advantage.
Yeah.
Kopylov also has really good defensive movements, right?
Because I think he's just nasty on the feet, dude.
He's good, man, and I love his footwork, and I think he's going to be able to use that footwork to stay out of the way. Ribeiro's got to be careful of a check hook or a nice counterpunch coming his way. Sometimes Kopylov does the counterpunching thing to his detriment.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes he waits a little bit too much. I want to see him put some combos together. Is he a southpaw?
He switches it up.
He does switch it up. I mean, because he's got great footwork. So, yeah, I just think he's got to be careful in the first round. You know, I do think his movement and his length are going to help him stay out of the way of the big shots. And as the fight progresses, he's got the better cardio too, in my opinion. I see him peppering Ribeiro and just working him on the feet and staying out of the way of the big shots himself. I could see a finish. I'm kind of undecided if it's going to be a finish or just a straight 30-27 decision.
Yeah. Again, this is another fight where I think the altitude
I'll
can play
go.
in.
You're right, it will, because Ribeiro does not have great cardio.
Right.
Kopylov, I mean, everybody's going to be affected by it, obviously. Kopylov does have the better cardio. I could see a late finish, man. I could see like an early third round finish, honestly, on this one. What did you say on this?
I said TKO round 2.
Yeah, I could see like an early to mid third round finish on this one. Just Ribeiro just kind of running out of gas and Kopylov just continuing to put it on him and just getting the finish that way.
Yeah.
But this is going to be an interesting fight, man. I'm actually excited about that one. And now is where it gets really interesting.
These guys are going to be affected by the altitude.
These guys are certainly going to be affected by the altitude. We're talking about some big boys. 6th fight of the night. It's Derrick Lewis versus Marcus Rogerio de Lima.
Was Derrick Lewis was our first published episode, correct?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Because we recorded the Brazil pay-per-view one, didn't
yes.
release it, and then I believe the next card was the Derrick Lewis and Sergey Spivak.
Yep.
Which was like the Asian-themed card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. With your boy.
UFC card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your boy,
Anshul
Jubilee. Yep. Yeah, man. It hurts me to say this. I really think Derrick Lewis is done. I think at this point, Derrick Lewis is here primarily for a paycheck and to like put other guys over, if you will, to use like a WWE term.
Sure.
I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. Also, Marcus Rogerio de Lima is better than your typical fat heavyweight, in my opinion. He's got unreal leg kicks, and I really do think we're going to see him utilize those to his advantage in this one. Derrick Lewis, very heavy on that front foot. Also, Derrick Lewis is nothing on the ground. Has absolutely nothing on the ground. Marcus Rogerio...
Good get-ups.
He used to.
Yeah, used to.
Used to. I don't think he has it in him anymore where he just pops up like he used to, which was incredible. That was like... I mean, that closed off a part of the game plan for the other opposing fighter. I just don't see that anymore. And listen, Derrick Lewis is an underdog. Of course, Derrick Lewis is an underdog. You could definitely sprinkle on that.
Like a little,
and what are the odds on this one now?
It's like he's like plus 100 or something, plus 120, something like that.
Plus 110.
Yeah.
I don't like it, man. Even at that, that's barely plus odds.
Right.
I really don't like it. Rogerio de Lima, really good jiu-jitsu. I mean, if we're talking about heavyweights, some of the best jiu-jitsu in the division. Plus those leg kicks, Derrick Lewis being heavy on the front foot. It's at elevation. I know it's going to affect both of them. I think Derrick Lewis has worse cardio, though. I mean, this guy at least has the ground advantage. If it goes to the ground, Derrick Lewis is done.
Yeah.
1 minute of grappling with this guy, with this big ass. And in heavyweight, once you go down, you don't really get up.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Especially if there's a big difference in the skill level. I think de Lima gets a submission in the first round here, man. I really do. I just don't think, Derrick Lewis has it anymore. It's unfortunate. I love Derrick Lewis. And again, could he get the knockout? Absolutely. Goes without saying. I think Rogerio de Lima is going to use the leg kicks to neutralize the power, have Derrick Lewis a little bit apprehensive. Eventually we'll get him on the ground and very quickly get the finish once he gets him on the ground. Derrick Lewis potentially retires? Maybe, maybe not. I think he's just ready to come back for another paycheck, and he's such a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Who would blame him? Well, how old is he now, too, by the way,
38, something like that.
38 in like 5 months. I mean, for heavyweight, the power is the last thing to go. So Derrick Lewis, I think, still has. There's plenty of guys in the division that he'll knock out. So
like the garbage guys,
Yeah, he probably won't retire because he wants that paycheck.
Absolutely.
He's gonna keep knocking these guys at the bottom division out. Heavyweight sucks. So, but yeah, I'm going de Lima by submission in this one in the first round.
Okay, so I agree with literally everything you've said.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add in. I said something last time, and I'm gonna have to say it again.
Okay.
Doesn't Marcos Rogerio de Lima just look like the kind of guy that Derrick Lewis would knock out?
Yeah, you said that last time.
You know what
he got wrecked.
Right, dude.
But he does.
Right. It's like, that's him. You know what I mean?
But he's got some power too, man.
No, I know.
And
No knock against him. He's good. And I agree with you in terms of what's going to happen. I think Marcos Rogerio de Lima is going to take him down immediately. He's going to sub him very quickly in the first round. It's sad. And
dude, if there's like a prop bet, like minus, like whatever, like first minute and a half or something. Like,
you're hitting that.
I might take that. Yeah.
Maybe. Anyways, it's sad because on this card we see this again later on in the card. No spoiler alerts.
Right.
Yeah, dude.
Wait.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked if Derrick Lewis won.
No, I wouldn't be shocked either.
You can't be, right? Because if he touches you with that big ass bear paw,
you're sleeping.
You're schlumped, my boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, round 1 sub, and like how the mighty have fallen.
Absolutely, but listen, even if Derrick Lewis, like if he doesn't straight up go to sleep, I could see Derrick Lewis dropping him and then getting subbed.
Just some weird shit.
Like there are just so many more ways that this guy can win the. If it goes to decision, Derrick Lewis not winning that.
Yeah.
And if it goes to decision, that's gonna be a brutal fight. It's gonna be terrible.
No way, dog.
It's gonna be terrible.
There's no way at elevation that these guys are sticking around for 15 minutes.
Yeah, probably not.
On some next shit, my itchy ass, I am definitely I'm sprinkling a little on Derrick Lewis first round knockout.
You're right, because first round knock. Well, it's probably like plus 150, but like still.
He's like plus 110 to win the fight.
Yeah, it's not gonna be much more in the.
It's
first
probably like
he's not getting a second round knockout.
Right, it's probably gonna be like plus 140, 150 for a knockout.
Yeah,
round 1 knockout's probably like plus 170 shit.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, why not? $2-3 on that. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
Hey.
Moving on to the next fight of the night. It's number 7. It's at 170. It's Trevin Giles versus Gabriel Bonfim. We just saw his brother kind of embarrassed a little bit a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't look great in that one, but give me your take on this one.
All right, let's start with Trevin Giles. He's super duper athletic, man. Great hands, great footwork, pumps out the jab a lot. Good wrestling defense. There's nothing really like negative to say about Trevin Giles.
He's not that different from a CJ Vergara at a different weight class.
Fair.
You know?
He's the kind of guy, Dino, that you would have thought would have gone farther at this point in his career. But the thing is,
he was on the trajectory.
He's young. Yeah. He's only 30. I was surprised when I saw that. So I guess he still has time to kind of like, move forward with his career. I do believe he's slept on a lot by the MMA fan base. Listen to his 4 losses. Zach Cummings, GM3 by submission. You get caught up by GM3, that could happen.
Absolutely.
Michael Morales.
And that was at 185, I want to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Morales, undefeated kid, looks like he's a killer. Yep. And Drickus, who I guess at this point is the number 1 contender in the middleweight division.
Not bad.
Good losses.
Not bad.
Right. And then we have Gabriel.
He has a win over Roman Dolidze.
Right. And that says a lot. Roman Dolidze was on fire a little bit ago.
Absolutely.
So Gabriel Bonfim, not to be confused with Ishmael Bonfim, who you just said was kind of embarrassed and what's the word? Like he was like basically he looks like a fraud.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not Gabriel.
We knew his brother was better.
And you've always said that too. Anytime
yes.
we talk about the Bonfim brothers,
it's just when
Gabriel
Ismail
Bonfim's the good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But when Ismail Bonfim came out
and
sadly that doesn't look as good now either.
Right.
Unfortunately, but
Yeah, so he's the better of the Bonfim brothers. He's very legit, man. Very smart fighter. Smart beyond his years. Very methodical. Don't compare him to his brother and think that he's the fraud. The dude is 25 years old.
Yeah, man.
And the way he fights, and I mean in a mental, like in the mental aspect of fighting, the way he fights is so mature for 25.
Oh, absolutely.
It's absolutely
He gives like Topuria vibes from like that regard.
Nice. I like that. I also like Trevin Giles, but I don't think he has enough to beat a prospect the level of Bonfim. I think besides the pure athleticism, Bonfim has the advantage in every aspect of the game. I think he is going to find a way to win this fight. I think it will end up being by submission. A takedown probably leads to a RNC or something like that. He just continues on his path towards the rankings, and I think he will get there one day.
Absolutely.
I don't know what round. Let's say round 2, just throwing it out there. But, yeah, Bonfim by submission.
That's exactly what I have, too. Round 2, Bonfim submission. Have we disagreed yet? I don't think we have.
Not yet, and we've actually agreed a lot on, like, method.
Method
and round, yeah.
I feel very strongly about this one. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily know that it'll be in the second round. It may not even be by submission.
Right.
He's got really crisp boxing. He's a Brazilian national champion boxer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Was he in the Olympics?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if he was in the Olympics, but I remember him being.
Dude, he's gonna have the better technical boxing.
Mhm.
Giles is, like you said, probably more. I mean, he's definitely more athletic. That's the one thing that he's got going for him. How do you really utilize that if somebody's just technically better everywhere?
Yeah.
He can get subbed. He can get knocked out. We've seen Trevin Giles' chin tested too. Now, I don't think he's got a bad chin. I mean, we saw last time versus Parsons, he got caught a couple times and he was able to weather the storm. He has been knocked out. Like you said, he does have good takedown defense. I also think Bonfim has the better cardio. So as the fight goes on, is that takedown defense at elevation going to be able to hold up? It's going to be tough, man. And then once even if it holds up, but he's getting a little closer to taking him down, now you're worried about the takedowns. Now you're worried about the boxing still. I just don't see it, man. I see a finish either way. Could be KO, could be sub. I'm leaning sub. But yeah, man. I mean, I see a second round finish. Could be a first round finish. I think a little bit more of Trevin Giles in that. I think it's a step up in competition for sure. But yeah, I see Bonfim getting the finish either way, man.
Agreed.
It's gonna be a banger though. For as long as it lasts.
Yeah, I think that'll be a fun fight.
It's gonna be a fun fight for sure.
And like I said, Trevin Giles is slept on. I think this fight's being a little slept on this card. I think it's a really good fight.
I agree. Is this the?
I think that's the final prelim.
So yeah, main event of the prelim.
Yeah.
And hell, man, that's a good way to go out. I don't mind that at all. So moving on to the next
card
fight, we're on the main card, and this is very interesting.
This whole main card is very interesting. Like really
the
good
style
names.
matchups are wild.
Style matchups are crazy.
Yeah.
It's really good names though. Like
Yes.
even for a casual fan, I feel like you probably know. Like if you're a really big MMA casual, like you watch the pay-per-views. Maybe some of your friends are MMA fans, so you hear about it here and there. I feel like you know about all these guys potentially, and if you don't, you know about like 8 of them.
I mean, they've all been like ranked at some point, or they're like
they've fought for titles. They've been champions,
but they've all at some point recently been ranked highly.
Yeah,
in the last couple of years. So, anyway, the fight that we're talking about, the main card opener, is Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. This is, of course, happening at 170.
I hate to do it to you, but what do they drink?
Oh, my God.
I felt like this was the right one here.
Okay. Oh, man. I feel like Michael Chiesa has, like, a beer occasionally, but, like, not a big drinker. Kevin Holland, I really don't think he drinks.
He drinks.
You think he drinks?
I think so.
What do you think he drinks then? I have no idea. I have no concept.
I don't think he's like a drinker.
Yeah.
But I think he's like a shot taker.
Sure, maybe some tequila shots, some Casamigos.
Right?
Yeah,
I think that's his vibe.
Yep.
Maybe some dark liquor, like here and there, sprinkled in when he's
he'll
chilling
have like
for
a
a
Truly
drink.
occasionally.
I think he's had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's like his go-to. I don't think he's much of a drinker. You're right. I think he's just like a shot taker at the bar and some dark liquor if he's trying to sip.
I think he's one of those guys where he's out of his mind regardless.
I know he smokes.
More likely, for sure.
No, I know he does.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I just think he's one of those guys who doesn't need to be fucked up to like have a good time.
Speaking of smoking, Chiesa looks like he smokes a lot. With that,
you think?
With the hair and the beard. Remember when he had like the caveman vibe?
Yeah.
That Chiesa, that was a different Chiesa.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Michael Chiesa fan. I just have to.
You just don't like him.
I don't love it, man. I think he's got. There's some guys that like just parts of the game come so naturally.
Yeah.
And then. Like, I just think Chiesa is like for him, the opposite of that is he just doesn't understand striking. Like, he's just he's not good on the feet.
Right.
That does not come naturally to him.
It doesn't, yeah.
It's just not a thing. Whereas I think Kevin Holland is the complete opposite. I think he is a savant when it comes to the striking. I mean, he just
kung fu guy.
He's just wild. He's just like, he throws things from different angles. You never know what to expect. This is one of the tougher calls on the card for me.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what you're going to say here.
I just want to throw in one more thing, though. This is really weird, and I haven't heard anybody talking about this.
Yeah.
There is a very weird connection between Chiesa and Kevin Holland.
Which is?
And that's our boy T-Rex.
True.
Michael Chiesa. Well, T-Rex trained with Chiesa.
Yeah.
Chiesa was his high school wrestling coach.
Get out of here. I did not know that. That's crazy.
And he just left those guys to go train with Kevin Holland in Texas.
Yeah, that I did know, yeah.
So, does that factor in at all?
This is the custody of T-Rex match.
Let's get it, you know what I mean?
Like Dominic Mysterio back in the day with Eddie.
That's amazing. That's what's going on here. Damn, that just came, like,
hey, that's
that blew my mind.
Damn. So, you think if Chiesa wins, T-Rex just has to...
I think he has to.
You got to go back.
Right, I think or, let's say Chiesa wins, Kevin Holland can earn him back.
Damn.
But he has to at least go get T-Rex's lick back and beat up like Chris Weidman or somebody from the last fight.
Yep.
Making up for like those Team Aljo guys.
I see that.
Yeah.
That would be a fun little like caveat to this.
I wonder
in my mind now that's just what's gonna happen. Like now, you made me more pumped for this fight. Even now in my mind, I'd be like,
damn, they got T-Rex like tied up, like a T-Rex on a pole match.
T-Rex on a pole match.
Let's get
Perfect. Exactly.
Let's get it.
But yeah, man, this is interesting. You know, it's very obvious what their strengths are here if you know anything about the sport, right? Chiesa, really good on the ground, really good wrestling, amazing jiu-jitsu, gets the submissions.
One-dimensional as hell.
One-dimensional as hell. Now, I actually think Kevin Holland is the more well-rounded fighter here. Yeah. I just think you can get him down if you're a certain level of strength, in my opinion.
Yes.
I don't think Chiesa is gonna I think we eventually see Kevin Holland. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I think it's gonna be tough for Chiesa to keep Holland down, to keep him down.
If he takes him
down, I think he's gonna really have a hard time. And that's not just for Chiesa. Holland is not the easiest guy to keep down. So,
no. I mean, we saw it with Hamza shit. Like Hamza took him down immediately,
right?
But he was like scrambling, and like he was finding ways out of shit for a guy that gets so much shit for being like terrible.
He's not that bad, and his takedown defense is not that bad. So,
right, you know what I'm saying?
So I think all part of that too was like he's going with the Dagestan thing and
Kevin Hollandov.
Right, exactly. So look, Chiesa's a big dude. I just don't see it, man. I see Kevin Holland starching his ass. I see him starching him, and I think Kevin Holland gets back on track here. I would love to see that happen. Maybe part of me is just biased, I also think Chiesa's a little bit past his prime at this point. How committed is he to the game? He's got the UFC announcing and all that, and the UFC shows and stuff. So maybe it's a bit of wishful thinking, but I really do think that we see a first round knockout here. Chiesa, is he going to want to stand if he starts getting tagged? I don't know. Obviously, Kevin Holland needs to not get his back taken. That's the number one thing here. If Chiesa gets on his back, he's got a big problem. I'm going with my boy, man. I'm going with Kevin Holland. Knockout in this one.
All right, so hear me out. With Mike Chiesa, he like you said, he does have like good wrestling, good grappling. Like that's what he's known for. But it's not that traditional wrestling, right? A lot of his takedowns come from the body lock and from the clinch and stuff like that.
He's not gonna slam you down.
Right. It's a lot of trips and just drags and stuff like that. We know that Kevin Holland has struggled with the grapplers. That's the story of this fight. It's besides the T-Rex custody, right? It's Kevin Holland has notoriously been dogged by guys that can grapple,
and they just keep giving him grappling.
And they just keep giving right. He does them favors and like, no, have another one,
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say, just in rewatching the film, that Wonder Boy,
unreal.
Kevin Holland fight was unbelievable. I know it was super late in the year. It was like December 2022. Yeah. If it was earlier, that's an easy fight of the year contender.
Dude, with that fight really randomly, I watched the prelims. And I think the first fight of the main card at home. And I had to go to a birthday party.
Yeah.
So I was in the car, in the back seat. I don't remember who was driving. But
you watched it in a car?
Dude, I watched it at a club.
Oh, my God.
I was in downtown
you told me
Chicago at a club. We got the bottle service chicks like coming up, sparklers in my face, bottles of Casamigos and like Don Julio and shit.
Okay, humble brag.
And I'm just sitting, I didn't pay for any of it. So, is that a brag?
I mean, that's right. So you're well connected.
So I'm just sitting there on my phone.
You said GK at the door.
I did. Shout out to GK. But I'm just sitting there, and like as the fight's progressing, like more and more dudes are just coming and they're just like standing around me, watching this fight. We're in a lit ass nightclub, like girls everywhere, alcohol. We're just watching this fight.
I did that for Alex Pereira versus Adesanya, the first one.
That's insane.
And I not only was I wasn't at a club, my guy. I was at like a EDM show. But they had a smoking section on the back off like a loading dock, so I just had it on the loading dock. And same thing, there was like a crowd of like 10 dudes gathered around me by the end.
I've done a few of those at like weddings, I've done a few.
Oh, the wedding one is unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It always hits different at a wedding.
A car. I've definitely done the car ones a few times.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and this is breaking news to me, I just found out about this like 2 days ago. I have to go to a wedding the day of Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso. So I'm going to watch that at in a wedding bathroom, or I'm stepping outside for like a smoke break or something.
Yep. You think it's not acceptable, to just have it on the table?
I mean, I don't want that.
Oh, you just
I want to
focus.
pay attention. Yeah,
you're gonna smoke hella squares that wedding.
We're gonna find out. You know what I mean? But anyways, Kevin Holland's a sniper. I believe the accuracy is legit. The power is legit. I think the ground game is underrated. He's been working a lot on jiu-jitsu. He's a
black belt.
Right. We saw Kevin Holland with a broken hand, Dino, give Wonder Boy some problems.
Dude, that's one of my favorite fights.
And now we're talking about a striker the level of Wonder Boy. Chiesa ain't no Wonder Boy.
No.
So if this stays on the feet and Chiesa can't get him down very quickly, you're right. It's lights out. Kevin Holland by knockout round 1.
I see it. I'm thinking a vintage slump.
Like a one shot, maybe like a 1-2 and just it's over. But yeah.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We've agreed on everything.
Everything.
Hey man, it looks like this might be a first.
This has never happened. We'll see how it ends.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the main event. I'm not going to agree with myself probably.
Same.
So, but okay, man. I mean, I'm very interested now to see how the rest of this card goes, and I'm very interested to see what you have to say about this next fight. It's Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green at 155, and who would have thought that this is where we would be? Like you said, how the mighty have fallen. But let me please hear what you have to say about this one, man.
So I hate this a lot. Tony Ferguson has lost 5 in a row. If it was not Tony Ferguson...
Dude, his record was unbelievable before that.
Right.
It was like 29
I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer.
I mean, absolutely. There's no question.
So if this wasn't Tony Ferguson, they would have been cut his ass.
Do you think he would have beat Khabib?
It's a
possibility.
Now it's like you want to say no.
Now it's no, yeah.
Right? But it's like at that time, man, that Tony Ferguson was an absolute
totally different
fight. Who knows?
Totally different fight.
And here, I think when it comes to a lot of these fights, like with 2 very high-level guys, I think if you play that fight out 10 times, odds are that even if one is better than the other one, that 2-3 times the one that's worse is going to figure it's fighting.
Yes.
He's going to figure it out. He's going to, you get clipped, you get
see
caught
something,
up. Yeah. You zig when you should have zagged, right? That's like that's what they always say. But anyways, I fear that this is going to be 6 in a row for Tony Ferguson. I hate that it looks like he's going out like BJ Penn.
Well, hopefully not getting beat up by some
drug guys
looks like me and you.
Right.
But
anyways, in his prime, he was one of the best to ever do it. He was tough as hell. Hate to see him go out this way, but that's the ugly side of this sport, right? We watch this every week. We see the beauty in the sport. We love this sport. It's brought us so much fun over the years. But the other side is very disgusting, to be honest.
It is, and it's not like, he's Carmelo Anthony,
slowed down, he can't get it anymore.
It's like, dude, he's literally losing brain cells.
Yeah,
this man is getting brain damage.
Right.
So
then we have Bobby Green, good hands, somehow more experienced than Tony Ferguson, more fights than Tony Ferguson.
Which is nuts.
He didn't look that great in his last fight versus Jared Gordon. Before that, he was also knocked out cold by Drew Dober not that long ago.
Yes.
He's also old. He's 36, so he's not like a spring chicken. He also has 14 losses on his record. So as much as I love Bobby Green, if you want to take a look at the negatives, there's some negatives there, right?
There is a path to Tony winning.
You see what I'm doing here, right?
Yes, I see.
I'm setting up that path right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to clear the road.
Yeah. It's not a very big path.
Right. I think the chance is there that Tony could catch him and get a sub. Like maybe drops him, grabs his neck. You never know. You're not getting out of Tony Ferguson RNC. If he's got your neck, it's over, right?
Yeah.
At that point, but probably not. So I'm just saying Justin Gaethje probably took his soul. That's what I'm banking on. That's what I've seen. Very sad, but you can't pick Tony Ferguson here unless you're crazy. If he wins, I'd be super ecstatic. But if he loses, I hope that's it and he retires.
That would be amazing if he wins.
If he wins, I hope he retires.
That'd be He should retire.
He should retire after this fight.
He should retire after this fight.
Thank you for everything. El Kukui. Absolute legend, future Hall of Famer, a legend, love that guy.
Yeah.
Green by TKO, though, round 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I think his hands are too fast.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like you said, Bobby Green is not like a spring chicken, but it's just like Tony in the Nate Diaz fight, just he had some moments. He had some. Don't get me wrong. He had some moments. He landed some shots, but I think Bobby Green beats Nate Diaz right now.
Yeah,
I just did. Yeah. I mean, so I think that was kind of a sad fight to watch. This fight makes me sad too because of the expected outcome, in my opinion. I agree with you. I think we see a Bobby Green TKO finish. Not sure what round, but I think the grounded pound eventually, you know, I don't think Tony's going to be like out cold.
Yeah.
Because he's just a beast of a man. But I think he's just going to be getting wrecked on the ground. Bobby Green also just better movement at this point. Tony Ferguson kind of plodding, just kind of walking towards Nate Diaz last time. One thing that he could use his advantage is those leg kicks. Maybe that slows down the movement of Bobby Green. Because he was working the shit out of those versus Nate Diaz. I don't know how Nate Diaz stayed standing, to be quite frank with you. But
he's a former BMF.
I mean, he absolutely is. Right? And it speaks to both their toughness. You know, I just don't see it, man. I really don't see it. You know, could Tony win? Sure. What are the odds on this one?
Probably not in Tony's favor.
Minus 335 for Bobby Green, plus 260 for Tony. I mean, that's probably about right, I guess. You know, they could be a little bit closer, I guess, but I agree with you, man. I think Bobby Green gets a TKO finish in this one, and like you said, however way it goes, Tony Ferguson should retire.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the 10th fight of the night, and it's somebody that we've already talked about briefly, and it's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson at 170 fighting Michel Pereira. Can a fight on paper be more fun than this? You know what I mean? As far as a striker's
delight.
It's a striker's delight. This is such a fun fight. Wonderboy's 40 years old at this point.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old. But, man, he still got it. He still got it. Unreal fight versus Holland, like we said already, and that was what, last year?
December.
That was December, not even a year ago. He looked unbelievable in that. He outlasted Holland in that one. So it's not like the cardio's going. I've seen no indication. He's still got some of the best striking in the entire division. I think the ground game's underrated, to be honest. I don't think Wonderboy is like some schlub on the ground.
No, he struggled with the guys that are like heavier than him that could just lay on him, right?
Exactly.
It's
Gilbert
not
Burns,
like a lack of skill.
Jiu-jitsu ace, took him down. Couldn't really do anything with it.
Yeah.
So
kind of wet blanketed on him.
Kind of wet blanketed on him. Just
Bilal, same thing.
Bilal, sure. You know, Bilal obviously really good grappler.
Woodley, sorta like
sure, but Michel Pereira is not that kind of grappler. So I really do see this playing out on the feet. I also think Michel Pereira is a very proud guy. He loves his crazy shit that he does with his striking. He does seem to have maybe calmed down a little bit and at least start fighting a little bit smarter, which I think is a good thing for him. Wonderboy is unreal though, man. I just think the cardio, again, at elevation, I think the cardio might be in the 40-year-old's favor. I think it might be in the favor of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
From what we've seen, yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Michel Pereira, I mean, he beat Ponzinibbio last time out. Ponzinibbio is obviously not what he used to be. Michel Pereira still tends to load up a little bit more. Wonderboy, I really like that side kick. I like the side kick because he almost uses it like a jab. I think he's going to be able to use that to create distance and keep Pereira at a distance, use the kicks. I think it's going to be a tough fight, man. I think it's going to be a beast of a fight. I think the cardio really is going to come into play, and shockingly, in the 40-year-old Wonderboy's advantage. I see a 29-28 decision. Maybe he loses the first round, but I think he still has it in a man to really outlast them, and I think he'll get the decision and win in this one. This is one of the fights I'm most excited about on this card. Just stylistically, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah. I agree, bro. One thing to throw in, the NMF, the nicest motherfucker, is on the BMF
literally.
Right? He has that NMF belt, so that's pretty funny.
Does he?
Yeah, Ariel Helwani gave it to him on the show.
Okay.
But
well, he literally is like the nicest guy.
Right, so that's pretty funny. And then Michel Pereira, as you mentioned, like obviously we know he has the capoeira style. He's nuts. That's part of his allure. Like that's what people like about him. We were at UFC 264 when he did the flip on Nico Price.
Dude,
yeah, man,
that was crazy.
He has like so many like viral meme moments. He has
he's insane.
He has the slap right versus Imavov or whatever. He has like where he's running the side of the cage and like he has some crazy shit
nuts.
that he's done.
He's nuts. I don't think we see as much of that versus somebody like Wonderboy.
It's calmed down.
Yeah, it has.
You're right. It has calmed down.
And I don't think that would be smart against somebody like Wonderboy.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then, like, his cardio has gotten better from what we've seen. What throws me off a lot, do you know he's 29?
That is pretty crazy. That's a big difference too, man.
Like, I always think he's like 33. You know what I mean? 34. But
he's got that, like, you know who would play him if there was a movie ever made? Joe Manganiello.
I don't even know who that is, brother.
Sofia Vergara's X-Man.
I know Sofia Vergara.
Here, I'll show you right now.
I'm pulling him up. Shout out Sofia Vergara if she's watching this. That'd be cool.
Oh my God, no way. But you feel me?
Yeah, that works.
100%.
I'm absolutely down.
I don't know why they'd make a movie about, unless this fight's an absolute classic, and
he goes on to be the GOAT of the sport.
And then Ryan Gosling plays Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that works.
Sorry though.
Maybe you could play Dana.
Damn.
You know?
I'm down.
Yeah, let's do
I don't know why they would need me but I'm down. I'm so down.
Well, with the SAG actors doing that whole strike thing right now, I don't know if it's a good time to talk about movies.
True. By the way, I saw Oppenheimer.
How was that?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Not something I would recommend watching on like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good.
Cool.
Didn't do the Barbie double feature.
No.
Yeah.
We're saving that for tomorrow because on Wednesdays we wear pink.
There you go. Exactly.
All right, but here's my thing. I just don't love the odds on this fight.
What are the odds on this one?
It's not crazy. It's Stephen Thompson minus 195.
Yeah.
I think it's close-ish, but I would like for the odds to be a little tighter than that.
Maybe like a 140, 150, something like that.
Right, because Wonderboy's 40.
Yeah.
And Michel Pereira's 29.
I actually had that written down. It could happen.
Right, and and
at any fight, it could, like, the drop-off could happen.
There it is. Exactly that. He looked phenomenal in December against Kevin Holland. But at some point, Wonderboy's going to look old.
Yeah.
He's going to look old at some point, right? Like when the guy has the unbreakable chin, we always say at some point it's going to get cracked. When the guy has like the unbelievable blah, 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 like whatever. Like you look ageless, at some point age is going to catch up.
It's going. It always does, man.
Is it Saturday at Elevation?
It's undefeated. Yeah.
Is it Saturday at Elevation? I don't know. I don't think so. I have to take Wonderboy here. I'm going by decision. Man, Michel Pereira is a killer, though, man. He could have made some strides, and
absolutely.
And if he wins this fight, man, then he's on his way. He's on his way to the top 8, 9 of this division.
That would probably be better for the sport.
Yeah.
Yep. As much as I would like to see Wonderboy win. I just really like him. But
2 my boys, by the way. I like both these guys.
I like both of them too, man. No question.
Yep.
Moving on to the co-main event of the evening.
So these last 2 fights, Dino.
Yeah.
Just sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
These last 2 fights, for the entirety that they've, like for the whole time that they've been announced.
Yeah.
These 2 fights, and we talked a little bit about this with the main event. I've been teetering on both of these fights. We're going to break them down.
I have only been teetering on the main event.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident about the co-main.
There we go. But for me, I've been teetering on both.
I get it.
And we're going to break them down. And what I'm saying is, there is, like, in the main event, we'll get there when we get there. But in this fight, I think there's like risky things that both fighters do. There's holes in both fighters' games that they could take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's like, I don't know. And like, Jan Blachowicz 40.
That's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
He's 40.
Right?
Also,
he's a man. He's 40.
Literally. Also, Poatan
was just slumped.
3
months ago.
Sure.
That's like crazy, right?
It is crazy. But also, he's fighting at his more natural weight.
Yeah.
He probably had one of the more brutal weight cuts in the entire sport, going down
at
to
85.
185.
Yeah, so he could be more full here. And
he's going to be full. I think the chin will be better, too. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, yes, Jan is 40, but Poatan is huge, dude. I expect him to be the bigger guy in there. But please, I don't mean to steal your...
Yeah. So, anyways, Jan Blachowicz, former light heavyweight champion. So he's been a champion at this division in 205.
So is Pereira at kickboxing.
Right. Very good power, Jan Blachowicz. That's what he's known for, the legendary Polish power.
And the power is usually the last to go.
There it is. Good wrestling, which isn't mentioned very often when it comes to Jan Blachowicz, but we've seen him use it against Israel Adesanya. We've seen him, and again, like you said, Alex Pereira is not your normal 185er. But when he has faced guys that were 185ers, Israel Adesanya obviously comes to mind. I believe Luke Rockhold. He's fought a lot of guys from Jacare Souza, maybe. He's fought some dudes that were at 205.
Are you talking about Jan or Alex?
Jan Blachowicz.
Oh, yeah.
He's fought some 185ers that have come up to 205. And he's done well against them, right? So he's passed that test. Alex Pereira is not your typical 185er. As you mentioned, he is a 205er. We've talked about him a ton. Great power, really, really good kickboxing skills. Like probably the elite of the elite. He's in that top 5 when it comes to just straight skill and striking in this sport. He's the taller fighter here. He has more reach. He's the younger fighter here. He's moving up to 205. I think as far as frame is concerned, you're right. He will be the larger man in there. There's obvious holes in his game. That's been the grappling. I wonder if that comes into play here. Now, is cardio going to come into play here? These are two big dudes. Alex Pereira is a 205er, but is this a little too much weight for him to be putting on at elevation, right?
Maybe, but for what it's worth, Glover does take him to train at elevation at times.
Well, yeah. So, and he's been grappling with Glover Teixeira, so you would think that's covering up some of the ground game.
I also, for what it's worth, Jan doesn't use his grappling. He never uses his grappling. Dude.
He only uses it when it's like the clear path to victory.
Like, okay, he used it versus Adesanya, but he didn't he wasn't just throwing him down in the first couple rounds.
No, it took a second. It took a while, and then he was able to kind of just do his thing. He was beating Izzy on the feet, though, for what that's worth.
He was.
For what that's worth.
He was. Izzy didn't bulk up for that fight.
No, Izzy was undersized, definitely, for that one.
And that was a couple years ago at this point. So, for me, too, one of the things that I was thinking about is, I mean, the reach difference, I think, is going to come into play here.
Yeah.
And the cardio is kind of a wash. Why didn't Jan wrestle against Ankalaev, dude? He had Ankalaev on one leg because he was wrecking him with the leg kicks.
Right, well, Ankalaev, I think, he's Dagestani.
Right, but you had him on one leg?
Different level. I don't know, man.
I mean, it is a different level.
Ankalaev was able to wrestle him at the end of that fight.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing, man. There's so many random, well, what about this? But then that plays into this. And then the advantage for this guy plays into the advantage. You know what I mean? It's a very weird fight. Here's what I'm going to go with. I think when it comes to Pereira, you have to worry about his ground game a little bit. He's working with Glover Teixeira, who has beaten Jan Blachowicz. So that's a huge, whatever the fucking term is, something in his pocket, right? There's something to be said about it.
Right.
I worry about his chin. He was just asleep 3 months ago. I know in kickboxing, that's common. You lose, you fight. They fight 150 times in 3 years. So I guess in his world, it's
You're also not getting, wrecked quite as hard.
Yeah, probably, right? I worry about the quick turnaround. I think Jan has the ability to wrestle if he wants to, or if he needs to, but he also has the power they both have the power to knock each other out. The chin doesn't heal that quickly, man. I was thinking Alex Pereira originally, then I realized this is MMA. I'm going with Jan Blachowicz. I think this fight's ending by finish one way or the other. One guy is winning by finish. I can't imagine it goes to,
And it's not ending by sub.
Right, so somebody's getting KO/TKO'd. I'm going with Jan, man. Round 2 or round 3 is my pick. I wouldn't be surprised if Alex Pereira knocks him out. That would make a lot of sense. But at this point, I'm just flipping the coin and I'm going Jan. I think he's the more well-rounded mixed martial artist.
And you're probably right. Both these guys also have just violent leg kicks.
Yeah.
I just think that Alex Pereira has more power, dude. I just think people don't understand the amount of power that Alex Pereira really has. I'm going Alex Pereira first round knockout, man. I think he's going to absolutely slump Jan.
When's the last time we seen Jan get knocked out, though?
He's 40, dude. That chin's going to start going soon, man.
Yeah.
And also, how many people have we seen with... Poatan literally means stone hands.
Yeah.
And just watching him knock people out the way that he does, how many times have we seen Izzy slumped? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
he wasn't slumped, to be fair.
No, he wasn't slumped. But, he was wobbled as shit. Yeah. And, we just don't see that very much. So, I'm pretty confident about it, too, man. I mean, I don't think Jan is going to be able to work that wrestling like that. I don't think he's going to have, an easy time getting Alex Pereira down. I think we're going to see a lot of
strikes, right? Coming into the takedown, you got to worry about getting cracked by Poatan. I get it.
And that check hook, even... And Alex Pereira is really good fighting off the back foot too. He can if Jan's coming forward, I can see Alex Pereira landing a check hook and absolutely sleeping him. So I'm gonna go first, maybe second round knockout, but I'm sprinkling on that first round KO. I don't know what the odds on that are gonna be. They're probably gonna be pretty decent.
Alex Pereira is the underdog in this fight, by the way.
Is he?
He is a very small underdog.
What does
the Tapology vote on this? Yeah, right.
Ooh, 51-49.
And that's
dude.
what I've been, right?
That's crazy. I feel
like,
pretty confident about it. I don't know what it is.
You
Would you like if Jan does lose? Would you like to see him move to heavyweight? I kind of would like to see that.
I think he would succeed there.
I think he would too.
Yeah, I think he would succeed there.
So,
eat some pierogies and just beef up a little bit.
Polish power, brother.
Legendary Polish power. Hey man.
And look, Jan is maybe. It sounds probably like I'm just like completely shitting on Jan. I'm not. I just am very confident in Alex Pereira.
Right, but dude. Here's my thought process. It's like it's crazy because I've been wavering on it, but it's like what realistically, like just take yourself out of the picture for a second. Like, what the hell has Alex Pereira done?
No, I get it.
Like, you know what I mean?
I was kind of against him getting shot up as much as he was.
Like,
but then look at what he did, though.
I get it. He beat Israel Adesanya.
He had him wobbled the second fight too.
He beat
and
Israel.
He got caught because he was just unloaded.
Right, he beat Israel Adesanya in MMA. Like, forget kickboxing right now. He beat him in MMA. But Izzy was kicking his ass for the majority of that fight.
He was. I mean, I wouldn't say kicking his ass.
He was winning. It was a clear decision. Izzy was coasting to a clear decision.
Listen, Jan is the more well-rounded fighter for sure.
He beat Michailidis and Bruno Silva before Sean Strickland and Izzy. And
but he slept Sean Strickland.
Yeah, but Sean Strickland sucks, dude. Like, if we are going to see Izzy, I agree. Picked him to win both main events this year, and he did.
Yeah.
My whole point is, though, when we're going to see Izzy versus Sean Strickland, does that end any differently? Izzy puts Sean Strickland out. I'm calling that now.
I agree, dude. You think he knocks him out?
Dude, I'm not watching film. He's knocking him out in the first or second round.
I don't think he knocks him out.
I guarantee you.
I think Izzy beats his ass for 5 rounds, but
I guarantee you he knocks him out.
Oh, that's awesome. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, to be honest. All that shit he's talked about him too. So, are you good with that one?
Yeah, that fight's gonna give that's gonna be a butterfly kind of.
I was just gonna say that.
For sure.
I was just gonna say that's definitely like an anxiety fight.
For sure.
Like, I don't really have a dog in the game.
I mean, I don't really give a shit about either one of them.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
yeah, it's gonna be
I don't know. Yeah, it's fun.
What the fuck's about to happen? And I don't really have a dog in the game in this one either.
Yeah.
In the main event,
I slightly prefer one guy over the other.
I know you like Gaethje a lot, and I do too. I slightly prefer him too.
I didn't used to like Justin Gaethje. He's grown on me.
He's grown on me, and Dustin Poirier has gone down for me because I've seen he's kind of a douche.
Yeah.
Like,
they try to make it seem like he's like the super nice. Like,
yeah, you see some signs of him being kind of a douche at times.
I know.
Listen, it's Tuesday. Might be Wednesday when this comes out.
It will be.
I will tell you my current pick.
Okay.
And I'm 50% confident in it. So
you got to go 51.
This is literally a 50.5. Like, this is literally as 50-50 as it gets to me, right? There are a couple things I just want to mention. This is, first of all, just an unbelievably fun fight.
I think we're going for 7 in a row.
We are going for 7 in a row. That means we've agreed.
On 7 straight main events.
On 7 straight main events. This means nothing if we disagree here, though, because ask me Saturday at 11:15 p.m. or whatever the hell.
As they're walking up, and you see one of them looking like a little weird. You get sketched out by the walkouts,
dude. Ask me after the weigh-in. Ask me after the ceremonial.
You get sketched out by the walkouts.
Oh, I get sketched out hard.
And then once I realized you did it, I found myself doing that. He looks scared.
They're all
fucking scared, bro.
Yeah, there's literally like 60,000 people just waiting for them to rumble.
You're just shirtless, just about to fight some other dude. Like,
you got about to get lubed up too. Like,
right.
That's kind of sketchy.
Put cream.
Put cream hard.
Like
oh my god. And literally, like, hit me with that, But
I'm trying to say.
Listen, there's just a couple things I want to mention. Number one, it's at elevation, right? Justin Gaethje trains at elevation, right? Dustin Poirier, I believe, is gonna get there like 2 weeks before the fight.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough time to really adjust to the elevation. Is Justin Gaethje training at elevation every single time that he's trained for the entire training camp? Maybe.
He lives in Denver.
He lives in Denver. I mean, so I get it, And I don't know if you've ever been to Denver. That you can feel that shit, dude. My hands and feet swell up. Like, it makes a difference. So, Dustin Poirier, he's got the crispier boxing. He's got some of the best boxing in the division. No question. Their first fight, it was Dustin's boxing that ended up getting the win, Justin Gaethje, though, I feel like he's made more strides in the last couple fights. I mean, look at the Fiziev fight. Yeah. He was losing that fight, but he was a lot smarter. Like, the decision-making, in my opinion, looked a lot better than old Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
So, are we going to see more of that? Are we going to see, Justin being a little bit more patient, waiting for his shot? And, dude, when he lands, I don't know that there's anybody that does more damage on a per-punch basis than Justin Gaethje. Also, obviously, goes without saying, Justin Gaethje's leg kicks, unbelievable.
Inside leg kick specifically is nut. He messed Poirier up with that in the first fight.
He absolutely did. Now, is that going to have more of an effect this time? Is that going to slow Dustin Poirier down even more because it's at elevation? Who knows, man? I mean, I don't have the answer to these. I don't think anybody does. Anybody that tells you that they do or that they feel super confident one way or another is either a liar or stupid, in my opinion.
Right. And half of them are going to be right, which is fucking nuts.
It's literally 50-50 everywhere. We put out a poll earlier. Do you know what the poll says right now?
I think it's 50-50.
It was literally 50-50 the last time I checked. And I'm sure Tapology's 50.
No, Tapology there's a discrepancy.
Is there really?
There is.
Wow. Pretty heavily in Poirier. 62% Poirier. Listen, I am also leaning Dustin Poirier in this moment right now.
Yeah.
I'm leaning Dustin Poirier. I don't think he gets to finish. I think it's just another war, a 5-round war. And the odds are close too. Minus 145 last time I checked for Poirier, plus 120 for Gaethje. It's just such a hard fight to pick, man. This is as 50-50 as it gets for me. Are we going to see better decision-making from Gaethje? Are we going to see Dustin Poirier a little bit quicker to the punch and using that technical boxing and staying out of the way of the big shots? Both these guys are going to be hurt by the end of this fight.
Of course.
These guys, I don't see an outcome where one of them gets like a first-round knockout. That would be fucking insane.
That'd be nuts.
I'd lose my shit if that happened. And I just don't see it, man. They both got really good chins.
And then,
they're both resilient. Like, it's just...
And then you know what's happening there? If that happens, this is a first-round knockout for either guy. I think the UFC is kicking themselves in the ass for booking Charles Oliveira in Dubai versus Islam.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would have much rather have
and
had
Charles
these
would have
guys.
too, I'm sure.
Charles would have, right. It would have been mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
But the reason they did that is because you expect this is going to be insanity.
That's the only reason, and that's such a good point you made. Because absolutely, there's no question that's why they did that.
And we can thank Leon Edwards for this, because last week was supposed to be Leon versus Colby. But he refused to do it, so we find ourselves here in Utah.
Yep.
And now we find that rematch happening in October.
Yep. And then another thing on it, like, Justin Gaethje just tends to fade in, like, the biggest of moments. I hope that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But with this hyperbolic-ass, fake-ass belt on the line, is he going to shrink because of that? Are we going to see him, like, tweak a little bit because of that? I hope not, man.
Yeah.
I hope not, And like you said, or like we said earlier, I mean, I do lean in terms of who I want to win, Gaethje a little bit. I don't know, man. I mean, it's just impossible to predict. Right now, I'm leaning Poirier, but, I just think the mental aspect, plus having the win over him, is did he say he's going to retire if he loses? I hope that's bullshit.
Gaethje?
Yeah, I've heard.
He did, yeah.
Okay, please don't do that. Please don't do that. But anyway, what do you think, dude?
I just want to add in the BMF thing. I like the BMF idea here. A lot of people say they don't like it because these two guys aren't fitting of like the BMF moniker, I guess.
Sure.
And it's because they're both thought of as like nice guys, and we touched on that a little earlier with Dustin Poirier. But take that out of the equation. If you just look at the two fighting, they are BMFs. And,
yes,
Gaethje fights like an absolute animal. Dustin Poirier is a stupidly good boxer.
Yep.
He is a dog, too. He's very durable. This is a rematch 5 years ago at this point. Both guys have progressed a good amount since then.
Yeah.
They are older, but they're the same age, so that really shouldn't matter. Dustin Poirier was able to win that fight. He eventually broke Gaethje down. I've noticed after his losses, Justin Gaethje does a great job leveling up after a loss.
Adjusting, yeah.
And I don't even know if it's necessarily adjusting, but he does get smarter.
Yeah.
And he's a lot smarter than he was back then, right? In this fight, in terms of discipline, I think we've seen massive growth from Justin Gaethje.
Absolutely.
And that's the area where I think you were trying to say they've both elevated, but Gaethje's elevated more.
Yes.
I think skill-wise, they've both elevated basically the same amount. They've both gotten 5 years better at being top-level guys, right? I started to look at common opponents for this fight, And the two that instantly jump out are the title fights, Oliveira and Khabib.
Right.
And obviously both guys lost both fights by submission both times.
Yep.
But Dustin Poirier survived longer. I think that proved that he's a little more durable than Justin Gaethje is, right? I know MMA math don't be mathing. We always say that.
But Gaethje looked damn durable in the Fiziev fight, man. He was getting rocked.
He did, and Fiziev is crazy. I don't know, man. That's the thing. It's like the last fight for me. There's a lot of positives. There's a lot of negatives. I just think that Dustin Poirier is a little too sharp. He fights a little too safe for Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
We just saw, for example, Michael Chandler was touching Justin Gaethje up in the first round, and then Justin Gaethje beat the dog shit out of Michael Chandler.
They both beat the shit out of Michael Chandler.
But Michael Chandler was winning the fight against Dustin Poirier until a bad mistake on the takedown, and he gave up his neck. So, you know what I mean? Like, the math, it literally don't math with the common opponents.
They fought each other, and I still don't know because it was such a war.
I don't know. So my whole fucking thing is I don't know. I'm just breaking shit down to break it down. I think Dustin Poirier is too smart. I think he's too slick. He fights very safe. He does a great job rolling in that shell. Connor called him what? A shooting ass, shelling ass bitch. That was the term that he used.
Yeah,
because he shells up, but he does.
Who does he lose to? He loses
to the champions.
To guys who are really grappling and submission heavy.
Absolutely. And with one more thing, with Justin Gaethje, more so than with Dustin Poirier, but obviously they've both never reached that mountaintop. They've knocked on the door 2 times each, and both have failed. But it seems obvious that when Justin Gaethje gets there, he's like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier loses those fights because those guys are better fighters than him.
And I think Dustin Poirier, for what it's worth, also would have an easier time with Fiziev.
Probably. Defensively, he'd be more safe,
right.
So he would take less damage.
Right.
I get it, man. The cardio thing is worrying me a little bit, I guess, against Dustin Poirier.
But he's never shown to have cardio issues.
He's never showed any cardio issues, but, getting acclimated to the altitude is a thing. Right now, I'm going Dustin Poirier, like you said, by decision. I would not be surprised if Justin Gaethje won at all. I prefer that Justin Gaethje wins. But yeah, whatever.
I would be more shocked if there's a finish than if either one of them won.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. I hope neither guy retires. I think they're both good for the sport, good for the division.
No question.
Because even the loser,
I'm still not that old. I mean, 34 and a half.
But it's like with Poirier, he doesn't want to fight anymore. He doesn't want to fight unless it's a title fight.
And that's the other thing, where maybe there's something to that.
But he's like and I don't mean this in a shitty way, but I feel like he's like a power hungry or like a money hungry kind of guy, right? He wants that belt. He wants the huge fight. Like if he were to lose this fight to Gaethje, let's say he gets knocked out in the first round.
I don't think you would take the Fiziev fight.
I don't think there's no way.
Yeah.
But if they were like, "Yo, you want a Connor fight again?"
Oh my god.
He would take that shit in a heartbeat.
Of course he would.
Right, but that's the thing. It's like he will only fight those guys.
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. I think we're looking to make it 7 in a row for main events here. Next week, we get Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font, who is filling in for Umar Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, I'm heavily on Sandhagen in that one.
Yeah, spoiler alert, as am I. I love Rob Font, but I don't see it. But that's another story for another week. UFC 291 is about to be a banger, hopefully, is what it looks like.
I'm pumped.
As am I, brother. BMF title is on the line. A potential number 1 contenders fight at 205.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wins this is definitely fighting whoever wins in Charles versus Islam. No question.
I was saying for 205 with Jan Blachowicz and Pereira.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So
wait, is there going to be that's not going to be a title.
It's not a title fight, but I'm saying it's a potential number 1 contender
number 1
fight.
Contender for sure.
You would assume winner probably fights Yuri.
I think they promised it
to
Alex Pereira.
Okay.
I would just love to see Alex Pereira versus Yuri.
That's a crazy fight.
That's an
insane fight. I think that's what the UFC would like.
Yeah.
I'm down. Yuri's an absolute my boy. I hope he beats Alex Pereira. I'm down to see the Yuri versus Jamal Hill fight.
I would love to see
That's
that.
what I'm a little more excited
Those are 2 of my boys.
That's going to be bananas. But anyways, UFC 291 is about to be a banger. DS. Anything else?
No, man. I'm pumped. Let's get it.
I'm pumped as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a little thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Ring that little bell. We appreciate all the love, guys. DS. I'm DBB. Peace.